let's just say, for example, if you've got a decent price product, if you're a coach or something like that, and you're selling maybe for £200, £300, £400, £500 or something like that. Look, if you got 2 people buying from you, 3 people buying from you, 4 people buying from you, you might be making yourself a couple of £1,000, just in a webinar, just like that. Hello and welcome to another Serious About Success podcast. Thank you again for tuning in, whether or not you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever it may well be. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, look, a lot of the time we speak a lot about the mindset around, what it really takes to become successful. Okay. Obviously most people, or a lot of people out there believe that it comes down to the strategy, how to get on the front page of Google or, how to do social media and all these other things. Whereas really and truly, it does come down to who you are. And when you become the entrepreneur, when you become it, then, creating a business is simple. It's not as hard as what you might think it is when you are the person that can actually deliver on a business. All right. However, today we're going to speak a little bit more about, how do you start a business? Okay. Yeah, great. Let's now dive into a little bit of strategy in relation to, you want to leave your day job. Okay. So a lot of you that are listening to this or watching this, you might be in a position where you really want to leave your day job as soon as humanly possible. You want more freedom for your life, on a Sunday, with the thought of having to go to work the following day on the Monday. Oh man, just fills you with dread. Yeah. Just fills you with, I just don't want to do it. Some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you will hear me louder than others, but I understand exactly how that feels because once upon a time I was in the exact same situation, dreading going to work on the Monday. Yeah. Or it might be, the rush hour, when, if you're in London, for example, and you have to get on a tube in the morning, it can be so busy, no one speaks to each other. It's just like silence, but it's just like sardines packed in. And no one's, it's just silent, just on the tube, just rocking backwards and forwards, So again, I know exactly how that feels. And then when you get into work, sometimes there's the office politics. There's people that, you might work with that in other aspects of life, you would never associate yourself with a person like that, ever. However, now we're just thrown together and, there's the politics that go on, the he said, she said, the backstabbing and, the taps on the shoulder, from management, can we have a word? Can we have a word? A word about what? Jay, can we have a word? Can we have a word? What are we going to have a word about? This such and such said that on this day and at this time that you did this. It's like, for crying out loud, really? Then we might have things like our appraisal. These are things that used to really get me, the appraisal every single year. It's like, right, Jay, you've done this really well. You've done this. Yeah, you've done that. You've been a valuable player of the department. You've done this and you've done that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the job, by the way. Again, I'm just going by my experience and a lot of the people that, might be here listening to this podcast, no doubt you're here because this is what we really mainly focus on, how to go about leaving your day job as quickly as possible, developing the mindset and all the rest of it. So I'm not necessarily saying that there's anything wrong with a job. If you enjoy what you do, then fantastic, but like I say, I would get in my appraisals, Jay, you've done this really well. Yeah, you've done that. You've been a valuable member and, you really got yourself out there, but you could have done this and you could have done that. And there was areas in your performance where you need to improve and you need to do this, However, Jay, if you work really hard, and next year, what we'll do is we'll work towards getting an exceed, you're going to just fully meet, at this point in time. But next year, if we work hard, we're going to exceed in your performance review. Yeah. So you're right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I want to exceed. Yeah. I'm going all out. So the following year you go all out. It's like, yeah, this is me, like Superman, do everything of what it is that I'm supposed to do. And then when you come to the appraisal again, it's like, right, Jay, yeah, you've exceeded. You've done really well. What that's going to mean is an extra £68 a month in your paycheck. So you're like, well, you know what? I've just been working really hard. I've been working all, extra hours because you expected that of me. It's like, look, I'm putting in the extra hours. In fact, sometimes I'm coming into the week on a weekend and I'm really pushing hard. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, I want to hit the big time. Yeah. I want to start making some money. I want to have more money in my back pocket, all that sort of stuff. So I've done all of that for an extra £68 a month in my paycheck, which, like I say, I'm not knocking it. Yeah, I'm not knocking it. However, again, these are reasons for me as to why it was like, look, I've got to be able to seek out more. There's got to be more out there for me. So you know what? Let's start a business. Yeah. So some of you, no doubt, will resonate with me more than others in terms of that whole journey. But again, after speaking with lots and lots and lots of you every single week of my life, I'm quite certain that, lots of us feel a very, very, very similar way. Freedom is probably the most important thing that comes up all of the time. I want my time to be my own. And that's fair. That is fair. We've got one experience of being who we are. One experience of that. And, who are we going to be within this experience? Because when we hit, if we make it to 101 years old and, we look back and, are we going to have regrets? Are we going to be saying, well, I coulda, shoulda, woulda? Are we going to be saying, well, I saw people on TV and they looked like they was living the life, they was living the life. But what about me? What about us? So again, it's down to us to make that decision. Okay. However, how do you go about starting a business? Okay, so over the years, I've created several online businesses. Okay, so some of you that know me most, you would know that I've done lots of things online. I've had digital marketing agencies. I've done very well as an affiliate marketer, where you get paid a commission for promoting other people's products. Online courses. I've sold thousands of these around the world from the stage and all the rest of it. Membership websites and all the rest of it. Okay, so lots of experience from an online point of view. But also we also have a property company as well. So in addition, we've invested quite heavily in properties and all the rest of it over the years. And I've also helped lots of other businesses get set up. Even things down to like drainage companies. And children's entertainment. Like parties and stuff like that. Had a real strong hand in the development of a lot of these type of businesses. Okay, so one of the first things of what you want to do when you're now thinking, all right, look, I want to start a business. Okay, well, the first thing that you want to be thinking about is, well, what's your plan? Okay, what's the plan? So there's no point in just like, oh, well, you know what? I just saw this thing out there, right? And it says all I got to do, right? All I got to do is clap my hands 3 times, yeah? Click maybe a few times and maybe blink my eyes. And then before you know it, I'm just going to be making all this money, right? We need a plan. Okay, so we need a plan. So what is it that you are now thinking about doing? Okay, what is it? And then in addition to that, all right, well, let's have a look to see what other people are doing in this space. What does your competition look like? Because one of the most straightforward things of what you can do when starting a business is, to replicate what somebody else has done. So if you can see somebody else in a similar sort of field as to where you want to now create success, and you can see that they're looking like they're pretty successful, then a good idea is to be like, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then what we can then do is replicate. However, you can add your own spin on it. So you can add your own USP, your own unique selling point. But this is one of the quickest ways. When we're coming with like a brand new invention, Jay, I want to create the new version of the mobile telephone, or the cell phone, right? A new version of that. And what it is not actually a phone. What it is some digital signal. And what happens is that, something happens, within some little tiny thing, this little device, there's a signal that goes up, hits some satellite in space, then, jumps to the moon, and then some other signal gets hit there, then comes back down, then there's some signal underneath the ground, and then it does all this type of stuff, right? And then, something then twiggles in your ear, and then you hear, the communication going ahead. It's like, all right, great. Sounds like a fantastic invention. However, to educate your market on that new invention is very, very, very expensive. So if you want to now come up with the new thing, to get it out there and get people to take notice of this new thing is not always an easy thing. This is why people spend thousands and thousands, if not millions of pounds on TV advertisement. Because obviously once you see something the first time, you're probably not even going to register. You need to see something maybe 7-8 times before it actually now starts sinking in. That's why you can spend a heck of a lot of money on marketing, TV advertising, YouTube ads, getting out there, so replicating, an easier way is just to replicate what somebody else has already done. For example, within the business of what I do, we've coached, people all around the world, thousands of people, and we've done very well as a business. And, but who am I replicating? Am I the only person on the planet that will speak a bit about mindset, okay, that goes deep into the mindset, then did give business, coaching and direction, and then holds people accountable all the way through until they're achieving the success of what it is that they're looking for. Maybe not everybody or other people do things in the way that I do it. However, one of the biggest players in the game in my industry with what I do is the main man himself, Mr. Tony Robbins, yeah? So, he will do mindset stuff. He will do business planning direction. He's got various courses and stuff like that. So again, how can I replicate somebody like that, but then add my flow to it? Add me, because Tony Robbins is not Jay Hastings, okay? So, I'm also going to have my own personality. I've got my own spin on things as well. So I might replicate a blueprint, replicate a model, and then obviously add your own little spin to it as well. All right. So that's the first point of call. What is it that we are doing? Now, who are we replicating? What do your competition look like? What does it look like? Okay. Is everyone and their dog doing the exact same thing? Because if they are, then all right, well, how do you go about niching what you're doing? Is it not a good idea to niche it down? And this is where a lot of the time people then start feeling a bit uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, but Jay, the thing is, you see my product, right, Jay? The thing is, right, my product will help everyone, yeah? Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a baby, doesn't matter if you're 99 years old. My product, male, female, it will help every single person on the planet, right? However, the more we play in a competitive space, so what I mean is that the more widespread, the less targeted we are, the more competition there is to play. Because obviously you're going to have some big companies, no doubt, in the industry of what it is that you work within. You're going to have a big, there's going to be some competition. There's going to be some big players. And as a result of that, chances are they're going after the mass. So that then means you got to compete with them. We're talking like brands like Apple or Microsoft or Nike or Adidas. You got to compete. If you're going after anyone and everyone, you got to compete with some really, really, really big players out there. And the thing is that, well, why is people going to turn their back towards a big brand that has been around for the last 30 years, that's got a very, 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 very good reputation? Why are they going to ignore all of the big brands and then just come to you, specifically you? Why? You've got to give people a real clear reason why. So when you niche down, so for example, yes, no doubt there are businesses out there that, certainly with my digital marketing background, I'll be able to help lots of different businesses. However, the niche of what it is that I've chosen to pick is people that are more at the beginning of their journey. So people that want to transition from employment to entrepreneurship. Yeah, for example, or people that are just getting started in a business. That is my particular targeted audience. Okay. So what does your specific targeted audience look like? So niche it right down, and again, don't fall into that trap. It's like, yeah, but I want to make all this money. I want to make all this money, because the more niched you are, the easier it is to get your message out there. So the easier it is for you to now start making sales, and the easier it is for you to now start making money. This is really, really, really important. And again, people miss this, because all they can see is the money. All they can see is, yeah, but I just want to make all this money. And one of the big things of what, no doubt you might have heard me say this before on some of the other podcasts. You've certainly heard, some of my other guests of what I've interviewed over time say the same sort of thing. And that is that you can't focus on the money. You got to focus on becoming very good at what it is that you do. So if you've got a particular niche, a particular target audience that you are now targeting, and, become very, very, very good at servicing that type of particular niche, that's where it's at. That's what it is that we ultimately really want to be focusing on. All right. So once we've now got our niche, so we've got our niche, we've got our targeted audience, we even know what our ideal customers even look like. We know what they look like. We know the type of behavior or what they do. We know where they might even hang out. We know, the type of personality traits that they might have. We want to get really clear because then it's easier to reach out to a market. So I'll give an example. I started off this podcast saying, look, no doubt, if you're going through rush hour, the office politics, of which, you go into the office. Now, some of you listening to this podcast, this is going directly into your heart. You're feeling what I'm saying here. You're going into the office. They're talking about your performance review. Hang on a minute. If you do not, hit your target, if you do not hit your key performance indicators, then guess what? We're going to have a verbal disciplinary. Yeah. If after that you then, still don't hit your KPIs, then guess what? We're going to go to a written disciplinary. And then following on from that, you'll have a final written warning, all these types of things. So what I'm saying is that I'm speaking directly to my targeted audience. So some of you, it's hitting your heart, and I know it will be. Of course it will be. So it's hitting it, and that's the reason why I'm doing it, because I am now really focusing. I'm really narrowing and, honing down on my specific targeted audience. I mentioned the word freedom quite a lot. We want to be free because, again, that is a big thing for, a lot of the people that might follow me that are interested in my content, because we want to create a free life. So I will then really now speak into that, speak into, having freedom for your life, being able to wake up whatever time suits you, being able to do what you want as and when you want to do it, not having to worry about getting your holiday request authorized, not have to think about stuff like that. Look, I'm about to go on I think it's the 4th trip this year, where I'm going away now for the next couple of weeks in about a week's time. If I was on annual leave, or how could I have done all of these trips this year? I can't do it. See, look what I'm doing here. I'm speaking directly into a niche, directly into people that understand that pain point. They get it. And then obviously, a lot of those people will then come and do some work with me, and then, we'll look to leave your day job within the next 6 months. Okay. But I hope you can see what it is that I'm doing here. I am really speaking because that's the headline. I'm not saying, right, are you already a business that are turning over £500,000 a year? Because if you are, then, I could also help you too. Do you get what I mean? I'm not even covering all of that, even though I could help a business like that. I'm just really speaking directly to that specific niche. Okay. So that is very, very, very important that we, stick with a niche and we replicate. So we're going to replicate something that's already there. We're going to niche it down. We're going to make it our own. And then we're going to move forward from there.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear us speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutssuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
Okay, now other things of what we must consider, when we are starting a business is, all right, well, what price point are we going to be setting our products or services? Because, if we want to hit, let's just say, for example, we want to get to £5,000 a month. Okay. All right. Brilliant. So if we want to hit £5,000 a month, okay, brilliant. But how many of our products do we need to be selling in order for us to get to that point? So we got to get really specific, again, really, 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 laser target in our mind in terms of what is really required in order for us to be able to hit our financial goals of what it is that we're looking to achieve. one of the things of what I would always suggest that you do is to create yourself like a vision board. What does your financially free or your free lifestyle now look like? Okay. So, what house are we living in? What cars are we driving? What type of travel are we traveling? Are we in business class? Are we in doing this? Are we doing that? What sort of restaurants are you eating? What places in the world do you travel to? What sort of clothes you wear? Really getting really specific in relation to what type of life you want to live. And then as well as that, you want to now start thinking about, well, how much is that desired lifestyle going to cost you? Okay, specifically, how much is it going to cost you? So let's just say, for example, if we work it out and we can see that it's going to cost you around about £5,000 or £6,000 a month. Okay, brilliant. Well, what product are you going to be selling, and how many of those products do we need to be selling in order for you to now be making £5,000 a month? So say, for example, I've just got this lens cap, okay? This is for my camera, right? This lens cap in front of me, right? So let's just say, for example, I'm selling these lens caps, for example. I mean, how much can I sell this for? I don't know. How much is a lens cap? I have no idea. Let's just say, for example, I'm going to sell this for, a few pounds, right? Let's just say £3, £3 or £4, right? Something like that, okay? All right, well, if I want to be making £5,000 a month, well, how many of these lens caps do I need to be selling in order to be making £5,000 a month? Okay, because don't forget, you're always going to have your turnover. So what I mean by that is the amount of money that your business takes in. But however, you might have expenditure on top of that. You might be using ads. You might have, a PA, a staff, something like that, a sales team, whatever it may well be. So profit. What's left over is obviously what's yours, okay? Or what you choose to pay yourself, for example. So if you want to get £5,000 a month, well, how many of these lens caps do I now need to be selling, okay? So let's just say, for example, I need to be selling, and if I was selling them for, call it a couple of pounds or £2 or £3, I need to be selling about 2,000 of these a month. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot. 2,000 or 3,000 of these a month, depending on the price point. Okay, so it's like, well, all right, if I want to sell 2,000 to 3,000 worth of that product a month, well, how much traffic do I need? How much traffic do I need hitting my website? So that means, all right, let's just say, for example, with the conversion rate, and this is typically the conversion rate that we'll always go with, okay? We'll start with a 1% conversion rate, just 1%. So that then means if I need to be selling 2,000 of these products every single month, okay, 2,000 of these, well, how much traffic do I need converting at just 1%? Okay, so I'm going to probably need about 200,000 visitors to my website every single month, in order to sell, 1%, for example. Hopefully we will get to a point where we convert that little bit more, but let's just start with a 1% conversion, okay? So I need 200,000 people to be landing on my website every single month to convert at a 1% to sell these items and sell 2,000 of these each month. Now I've got my £5,000 a month. For example, I might need to sell even a few more than that, as per turnover and all that sort of stuff. But what I'm saying is that just to give us a bit of an idea on what is required if we want to get to the financial figures of what we're saying it is that we want to do, what is really required? What actions do I really need to take? So then once we've identified, how we're going to get there, or the financial figures of what we need to get to that point, then we now need a marketing plan. So how are we going to get 100,000 people to visit our website every single month? Or, hopefully, you might not need quite as many as that. So again, it depends on the price point of the business of whatever it is that you're doing, but how am I going to get people there every single month? So, that's where we now need a marketing plan. So what is included within your marketing plan? So, can you do things like webinars? Again, depends on what it is that you're doing. I love webinars. The reason why webinars are so effective is because you get in front of your targeted audience. So if you want to do like a coaching business or something like that, you get in front of your targeted audience, of which, once you're in front of your targeted audience, let's just say you've got 50 people there, only 50 people, you got 50 of your targeted audience right there and then. So that then means that, you've got the potential to sell to your target audience, all grouped together, all coming together at one particular time, that you've now set. And now, you've got the opportunity to sell to as many of those as you possibly can. And if you've got, let's just say, for example, if you've got a decent price product, if you're a coach or something like that, and you're selling maybe for £200, £300, £400, £500 or something like that, look, if you got 2 people buying from you, 3 people buying from you, 4 people buying from you, you might be making yourself a couple of £1,000, just in a webinar, just like that. So they can work, they can be very, 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 very effective by, doing things like webinars. But other aspects of what you might want to include in your marketing plan might be things like, well, all right, social media. What am I going to be doing on social media? How do I grow a following? How do I grow a following on Facebook? How do I grow a following on Instagram? What do I need to be doing? I need to be posting content, okay? So typically how these things work nowadays, okay, is, you don't always need the most amount of followers, okay? Like people's always focused on, yeah, but I need more followers, more followers, more followers, more followers. It's not always as important as what it is that you might think. Because nowadays, a lot of the algorithms like TikTok, like Instagram, even Facebook, what that will typically do is that will push out some of your content to a certain demographic. So say, for example, the people that are following you, all right? Let's just say that you're creating some products or you're creating some reels or some sort of content, and you now put that out on the internet. Now, there's going to be a certain amount of people, the people that are following you, they might be the ones that now get get introduced to the content of what you're putting out there. Now, if they respond really well, okay, so if the people that are following you respond really well, then the algorithms will push that content out to, let's just say you had 1,000 people following you, now, okay, because they've responded really well, the algorithms push that out to another 10,000 people that are not necessarily following you, okay? And, they will show that bit of content to all those 10,000 people, for example. All right. Now, if those people then respond really well, okay, people just click on your reel, they might like it, they might share it, they might comment, then it then might push your content out to maybe 100,000 people. Okay. Now, if they respond really well, then your content might now get pushed out to 1 million people. If they respond really well, it could get pushed out to even more than that. And, obviously a lot of those people are not necessarily following you. So, you will see sometimes that people might have a very small following. However, that is very possible that they've got viral videos, because that's the way it works nowadays. There's a very good possibility that could be the case. So don't worry so much on followers. That's not everything. That's not the be all and end all. So, that's what we might now choose as a marketing strategy for your business. Okay. Again, depending on what it is that you're doing. Other things of what you might want to look at might be things like ads. Am I going to be doing Facebook ads or Instagram ads or Google ads? However, again, remember, when you're doing things like Facebook ads, people often say to me, yeah, but Jay, I've done the Facebook ads. It don't work, Jay. It don't work. No one clicked on the link. No one bought anything. It don't work, Jay. But we've got to remember that places like Facebook, again, depending on your product, places like Facebook, people typically are not going on Facebook to buy stuff. You're not necessarily going on Instagram to buy. You might go to Amazon or eBay to buy. Even Google, that's when you're in a buying mode. If you go on Amazon, you're looking to buy something. But when you go on Facebook, when was the last time you bought something just from Facebook, just from seeing something on Facebook and then, oh yeah, let me go and buy it? I mean, look, I will do every so often, but a lot of the time it's just impulse. I might see something like, oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that looks great. And then you buy it and then you never even use it, yeah, for example. So a lot of the time it might be impulse, but it depends on the product. It depends. If you've got a drainage company, for example, if you're a plumber, well, all right, you're a carpenter or something, an accountant, and you're using Facebook ads, well, all right, well, I'm not really looking for an accountant right now. Do you get what I mean? So as a result of that, well, I'm not going to be, intrigued by an ad for an accountant. Do you get what I mean? So it depends on the product. So, often people just say, oh, that doesn't work. Well, it's not that it doesn't work. It's, what's the angle that you're now trying to approach the Facebook ad with? And, is it something that is going to be suited for social media? Is it like an impulse? Is it something suited? Or is there another way of doing it? You might use ads to do lead generation, for example, where your aim is to try and get people on the phone, but again, you might have to have a real clear, message or like an intriguing title, within your content that, like an accountant, if you are an accountant, it's like, for example, again, this is off the top of my head, you might be like, business startup, zero capital, you don't have anything to get started with. Look, we're the accountants for you to come and speak with. So that's your little USP. If you're a startup business, you don't have much capital. Well, we're the accountants that you can now come and work with. But then again, what you might then do is just do lead generation. Instead of like, click this link and now go and buy something, you might just do lead generation or something like that. Okay. So ads are very, very, very effective. No doubt lots of marketers use ads. I use ads a lot, and stuff like that. So again, it can work really well. Google ads is also, something that can work really well because again, people are going to Google specifically to, typically buy stuff if they're going to be Googling certain keywords. Okay. So if you Google buy, or an accountant in my area, for example, that then means that chances are you're looking to enroll with an accountant in some way. Okay. Video marketing is also very, very effective. Okay. So videos, Google will tell you, okay, so this is Google. Google will tell you that people are between 64 to 85% more likely to buy or use your services after watching video. Okay. So as a part of your marketing plan, remember you've got your niche. We've got our product, we've done our market research, so we know our competition, we've got an idea on how much traffic we need to be driving in order for us to generate the sort of income of what it is that we want to be generating, and we're now obviously got our marketing plan. We're going to do a bit of ads. We're going to do a bit of social media. We've already got a website and all that sort of stuff. Now adding videos to all of that can just help with the conversions. So having videos on your website, stuff like that, where people can really get the feel of what it is that you are offering. Okay. Again, yes, these types of things can certainly help you when it comes down to a conversion point of view. All right. Okay, so, we've spoken about your niche. We've spoken about all of this type of stuff. Okay, when we're now talking about marketing, right, following on from this now, is this now about sales? So sales in terms of, okay, I just mentioned about conversions, okay, using videos to help you convert. However, you got to think about, well, what is your sales strategy? Are you going to be getting people on the phones? Look, one of the things people are often scared of the phone. It's like, yeah, but Jay, I don't want to pick up the telephone, right? One of the things, I'm not saying that any of us really love the phone, but guess what? It really works. It works really well because, sometimes people want to, feel more secure with what they're buying and who they're buying from, depending on the product. If I was selling, the lens cap, I'm not going to be getting on the phone with anybody. I'm just going to be driving traffic directly to my website, for example. But if I'm a coach, I've got a coaching business of some kind, or I've got a digital marketing agency, I've got something. Certainly if I'm now trying to charge a premium for my service, then guess what? Jumping on the telephone is always going to be a good point of call. So, yes, getting used to the phone is, the phone is your friend, but believe it or not, it's not your enemy. Yeah. It will genuinely help you to get things really, really, really moving. Okay. Making those sales, because people will typically buy from people. Okay. So people buy from people. So if you're, you've got some coaching program, or you're a digital marketing agency, or you've got some type of, something like that where people are buying you. Okay. They're not just buying the lens cap, they're buying you. Okay. So that then means that, people buy from people. And, you need to be able to display that, you're the right person to work with that person. So they need to feel that. And there's no better way, really. Videos are great. It warms people right up. But then there's no other way, no other better way than kind of connecting with them directly. Certainly in the beginning. Eventually when you grow, you can have a sales team and they can do that all on your behalf. But in the beginning, you jumping on the phones is definitely not a bad idea. Okay. So that's going to help you with your conversions. Okay. Now, other things of what you want to be thinking about in your business is things like your accounts. Okay. So you want to have a very firm grip on your accounts, sales as per what I've just mentioned, and as well as that customer relations as well. These are where you want to have your firm grip. You can outsource everything else. I wouldn't be necessarily recommending that, you build your website unless you're a web developer or, doing some of the other mundane tasks, why would you want to be spending your time there? Admin, stuff like that. You might want to outsource a lot of those tasks. However, things of what you've got to have a firm grip on: customer relations, accounts, and sales. Okay. These are really, really, really important. Okay. Like the real key parts of your business. Customer relations, because again, it is all about the customer experience with your business, with what it is that you're doing. And you've got to make sure you've got a firm grip on the experience of what it is that they're having within the company of what you're running. Okay. Accounts, obviously making sure that, you're aware of your income and expenditure and what profit you're getting and all the rest of it. And then sales is obviously what's feeding your baby, because that's how we treat our businesses. We treat our businesses like, they are our children. They are very, very, very important to us. Okay. Very important to us. So in which case, what our babies feed on, our businesses feed on, is money. And it's your job to continuously put more money in the business's mouth. Okay. So that then means that sales is a really important skill that you must learn.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear us speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutsuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
Now, networking is also very important. So getting out there, who else is doing anything similar? Are there meetup groups, in and around your town, in and around your city, where you can network with other business professionals, and start building up, some really good contacts. That's really important in business. Okay. And then, most of the time, or a lot of the time, I can't really be bothered to do that. So we just want to stay at home. We want to stay in our room and just try and create our ultimate empire just from there. Whereas, getting out there and surrounding yourself with the right people, other business players, is only but going to benefit you. Okay. Now, finally, okay. Look, no doubt there's other things of what we can cover. I'm just conscious of time, but, one of the most important things as well is remember to have fun out there with what it is that you are doing. Now, your business is going to be like a roller coaster. Okay. Sometimes you might have real big highs, you've just made lots of sales, you're really on a high, but then sometimes it's like, well, hang on a minute. I'm getting rejection after rejection after rejection. It is a part of the game. It is a roller coaster. However, enjoy the game, enjoy the journey, because that's what this is. Really and truly, if you think about it in the scheme of things, you're living a decent life. A lot of us are living a decent life. You've got running water, you've got a bed to sleep in, things like that. Okay. So, we're living a decent life, comfortable. And this game, it's like a game of Monopoly. It's your opportunity now to create something massive for your life. So don't forget what it is. Don't forget it. What it is the game. And you've got to now learn some skills, whether or not that is sales and whether that is marketing, whether or not that's market research. You've got to learn some skills, how to be a project manager, where you now outsource lots of different projects or, components of what it is that you need to do, but, you are the person that are just pulling the strings. Okay. This is a game. It's a game, so treat it like a game. And let's have fun with it, because no doubt, if we make it to 101 years old and we look back on our deathbed, or, we're looking back over our life, we're on our deathbed looking back over our life, we want to look at it and be like, what was all the stress about? What was all the fighting and the grit and the this, if you see it for what it is, it's like, well, look, I've had a good run at this, and there's been elements of it that has been fun because you know what? It is the game. It is all a part of the game. All right. So that is it, in terms of how to go about starting a business, some of the things of what you really want to be considering when starting a business. Remember, the mindset is the most important thing, who you need to be. When you have got the right mindset, then, the strategy and how to go about setting up a business and actually making it really work is a lot easier because you are the person, you see, you've stepped into who you need to be. So, that's really, really, really important. Remember, don't ever forget that. All right. But look, thank you so much for tuning in on today's podcast. We've got lots of content coming up in the coming weeks. So, feel free to tune into all of that. Remember, please do me a favor. Okay. Please do this for me. If you don't mind just subscribing to our channel, don't forget to always, if you like the content, give me a like on the content as well. I would very much appreciate it. It just allows us to grow our channel. And as we grow our channel, the bigger we get, the better guests we can get, and just the bigger we get, basically. So please go ahead and do subscribe to our channel. But until the next time, everyone, look, thanks again for tuning in, and I will look forward to touching base with a lot of you very soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.